Welcome back to Clay and Buck, everybody. We are very pleased to welcome onto the program Dr. Laura Schlesinger, who recently celebrated 50 years on the radio. She is a best-selling author. She's also auctioning off some handmade items to support children of fallen patriots. Go to drlaura.com for more of that. Again, drlaura.com. Dr. Laura, I just say it's an honor to speak to you because I've been hearing your voice ever since I got married because my wife is a longtime Dr. Laura listener. And let me tell you, I'm
Oh,
very thankful. I am very thankful for it.
well, then she's your girlfriend.
She's the best. She's fantastic.
That's
I
right.
come home and we got married and I came home and there's dinner on the table and I say, honey, I want to go to the shooting range with the guys. She says, you need guy time, all these rules and lessons. And then I found this book, The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands, which is dog-eared and underlined and everything else. I tell you, I got married a little later in life, Dr. Laura. So I got married around 40. I think it was 41. And my wife is absolutely the love of my life. She's absolutely fantastic. We're about to have a baby in a
Oh,
couple of weeks. So everything is going. And I really wanted to have you on in part just to thank you because, this comes from my wife as well. I think you give so many women such incredibly important and powerful advice for them to have great, meaningful lives as wives, as mothers. As so, I'm always whenever Carrie starts saying Dr. Laura says, I start nodding my head. Yep, that's great. She sent in my wife's. So I just got to tell you this. It's the truth. My wife sent in a question for you, and Clay's wife, Laura, has a question too. She says,
okay.
"Hi, Dr. Laura. I'm a longtime listener and read The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands. I also took the online course. Your wisdom has not only made me the wife I am today, but also led me to find an incredible husband who adores me." Fact check, true.
Mm.
In a couple of weeks, we will be welcoming our first child. We're so thrilled to grow our family. But what is your advice for ensuring our solid and healthy marriage stays intact after the first baby comes? Thank you for all you do.
You don't stop having your hands all over each other. That means when you're walking around, that means when one of you takes a shower, maybe we could, save on water. We could both be in the shower. It's really the physicality and the silliness. Everybody thinks it's got to be marital therapy and heavy duty conversations, which you and I both know guys don't enjoy. So the more physical you are with each other and the more cute you are with each other, that's really all you need.
I love it.
That's really good advice. Now, I don't even know what my wife has sent in, but there is audio. She went and used the app, and then she needed more
Uh-huh.
space,
Can
so
we just
she
give
sent it
context,
to
Clay? How
producer
long? How
Allie.
long have you been married? Tell Dr. Laura. How long have you been
I have
married?
been, yeah. So I've been married. 21 years will be August. So I've been married
Nice.
over 20 years now. We have three
Nice.
boys, 17, 14, and 10-year-old. And here is what my wife Laura wanted to ask you,
Clay
listeners.
and
Okay.
I are parents of boys, and thus far, I think we have weathered adolescence fairly well. However, some of our friends who have daughters, their experiences, the way they talk about it, sound very different. In fact, some of them say raising daughters through adolescence is a complete nightmare. I had a friend this morning tell me that she feels she's coming home to a bag of snakes every day when she comes home to her adolescent daughters, which is funny but harsh. So, in general, do you have some great advice for parents going through adolescence with their children? Obviously, the children are going through adolescence. And do you have different advice for parents of girls weathering adolescence versus parents of boys weathering adolescence? Thank you.
I thought you were just going to have me on for a few minutes. That's going to take me about half an hour to get through. Let me try to bring it down. Number one, whether it's a boy or a girl, that it's a tight family that does things together, that is sweet with each other, that the father spends time with the daughter, the father spends time with the son, the mother spends time, and the family is always together for dinner. If they have to go do sports things or what have you, that that's a very important part of the family. People keep divvying it up. Yeah, there are differences in how you raise girls from boys, and I'd have to come back another time to go through that. But the first and foremost thing, just like I spoke about husbands and wives and the physical and the cuteness, I was with a family and I thought, and I talked about them on my air, that this was the best family I had seen in decades. Anytime anybody got something, would you send me, could I have, yes, please, thank you. Everybody was so concerned and polite to one another. That is not something that families do. You have 2 career families, you have all kinds of other stuff going on in the house, and it's not a family. It's mother and father and kids. But when it's a family, when people are always saying please and thank you and show concern for each other and discipline in kind ways with understanding and compassion, you'd be surprised how it minimizes how crazy it gets. And also take your kids out of public school.
Wow. Dr. Laura, we're definitely going to have you back, and I'm really looking forward to all the questions and comments we're going to get from the audience about you coming on and just beginning this arc of wisdom. And like I said, as a husband and a very happy husband who does completely adore his wife, and I know it's so important that I think women get a lot of the messaging, and men, but that we both get a lot of the messaging that you're putting out there. And I wanted you to address something that's more just sort of general for the country right now. We talk here about
Okay.
politics and national security and education, all these different things. But the importance of family and marriage is central, should be central. Maybe should be is a better word these days. There's a story just out today, and it says, and the headline is American Women Are Giving Up on Marriage. And one of the lines from it is American women have never been this resigned to staying single. They are responding to major demographic shifts, including huge and growing gender gaps in economic and education attainment and beliefs about what a family should look like. What is going on, and how do we fix it?
Not enough fathers in the home raising sons to be men of honor and courage and principle. And that's basically, again, the women have gone through the feminist thing where men are the evil empire and all this negativity toward masculinity. It's all toxic. I think it's wonderful. Give me a guy with a cowboy hat and boots, and I pay attention because there's a sense that there's a strength there, and women like to feel protected. That's probably the number one thing women don't admit. They want to feel protected, and that's why they like those silly books where there's this ripped guy on the cover and she's being carried, into safety. Why do they read those things at such large amounts? Because ultimately, as smart and incompetent as we can be, we want to be protected. And men have not been brought up to be that anymore.
Are you more, you've been doing this for 50 years, and Buck just laid out marriage is becoming less common. A lot of men are not present in homes. Unfortunately, the overall birth rate in many Western civilizations is collapsing. Are you more or less optimistic about the future of the family unit today than when you started? How would you analyze the scope of relationship that you've seen over 50 years?
Oh, no, I was more optimistic then than I am now because there have been so many forces. We have like 1 or 2 generations now I think are lost. These are young people who are not being brought up that you finish school and you aim to be and do things and you make a family and you raise kids and you have communities. And that was how I was brought up, and it was all this optimism. Now you have throngs of kids who have no idea where they can go and what they can be. And so they get involved in all of these cliques like non-binary. And, I belong now to a group of people who are equally lost and don't have an identity and don't have a direction and don't have a sense of self other than I can belong to this community. It's like what we used to look at with groupies with rock stars. This is what's happening. So I'm worried. Be honest with you, I'm worried. But the one little piece of optimism I have is I'm still here. People are still calling. Somebody wants the help to pull it back together again and make life meaningful and something you can feel comfortable and safe with and productive and loving and receive all of that. So as long as I still get that response, I keep my optimism up. I ain't quitting.
Dr. Laura, that's a great line. You just laid out some of the challenges. How much do you think it has to do with kids getting phones too young what advice would you give parents out there? My wife asked a question about adolescence, but what advice would you give to parents about social media and about what they allow their kids to be exposed to, particularly on the internet?
Well, everybody tells me I'm insane to think, you can push up against a tsunami, but it takes just everybody lining up. I tell people that they're irresponsible parents if they give smartphones to their kids, any minor child, period. Get them a flip phone that takes calls. That's it. No texting, no internet. And instead of spending one's time with screens, how about we actually have families that do stuff together? I mean, when my kid was, talk about a screen though, we would watch Law and Order as a whole family. And then we would sit here and we would go, I think he did it. No, I think she did it. And so it was all of this thinking through using pieces of information. And I just read today that our children are really suffering the inability to have fine motor skills because they're not playing with crayons. They're not playing with scissors. They're just sitting there like that. And so we're actually losing physicality. I mean, is that not shocking?
It's amazing. And when you think about all the influences that are on kids these days and what they're being told and how I think a lot of them are being set up for misery. I mean, Dr. Laura,
Yes,
you have
I agree.
the metrics these days, and the metrics for young women in particular, in terms of happiness, self-described happiness, is terrifying in terms of how bad it is. How do we
Oh,
start
yeah.
to turn? Again, it's you're going up against a tsunami, but how do we start to turn that around?
Well, it popped into my head as you were asking me the question. Look at all the very intelligent and very attractive women that are now in positions of power in our government. I am so enthralled with that. And I think that's wonderful for young women to have something to aspire to. Keep my act clean. No more shacking up, using drugs, this and that and the other thing. I want to be like that lady who's now running the whatever it is. So having role models like that, uh, I have people calling who say I was in a car seat in the back of my parents' car listening to you. And now I have kids and I'm using what I've learned. So anytime you can be a positive influence, do it.
My wife makes fun of me because I just always sit there in the car when she turns you on. I'm just like, Dr. Laura's right. So I'm just telling you. I was like, we have to have Dr. Laura. Because I'm like, Dr. Laura's right. And Carrie looks at me. She goes, oh, I know. Clay, go ahead.
Last question for you, and we appreciate your time, and
Okay.
you're certainly a radio legend. You've been so influential for so long. When the modern era, like I was reading the other day, the number of successful women that are choosing to go find a sperm donor to have a child with instead of an actual man is staggering to me. What
It
kind of
infuriates
world are
me.
we?
It
Okay, I wanted to get your
infuriates
take
me.
on this.
Makes me angry because kids need a dad. And I just say to these women, oh, that's not, well, I have money and I can take care of, I don't care about that. You had a mommy and a daddy, and I'm sure that meant something to you. Now you're going to rob a kid of a dad because it's convenient for you not to commit and give of yourself and be vulnerable to another human being and be invested in each other's lives beautifully. That's a real shame. That's a real shame. That is so selfish. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Well, Dr. Laura, we gotta have you back because for you to solve all problems of relationships and family and child rearing in about 10 minutes is asking a lot, but you did a remarkable job. Guys, there's so many books. I mean, The Proper Care and Feeding of Husbands. I've actually got Carrie's very dog-eared and underlined copy in my hand. Great book, and go to drlaura.com because she's doing some great charity work too. Dr. Laura, we'd love to have you back, and thanks for being here.
I would love it. Thank you, guys. And I love listening to you too.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
You're very
All right, guys,
strong.
there's-
I like that.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
how we do it. I'm kind of blushing now. All right, that phrase, there are only two things that are certain in life, death and taxes, might need to be slightly modified. Add this to the items that are certain. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk, you will be saving money. If you're with Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, make the switch and immediately save $50 or more. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Just to give you perspective, the average size family of 4 saves more than $1,000 a year when they switch to Pure Talk. Pure Talk's US-based customer service team makes this switch hassle-free, and in as little as 10 minutes, you can switch just like I did. You can even keep your phone and your number. It is so straightforward, and it just saves you money. Plus, you get much better customer service than you've ever seen before. Using your cell phone, dial pound 250, say the keywords Clay and Buck to make the switch, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, say the keywords Clay and Buck, save an additional 50% off your first month with Pure Talk.